Welcome to Anakin Plays Pharaoh, A New Era.
The accession of Pharaoh Djoser to the throne of Egypt has ushered in a new era of wisdom, learning, and artistic achievement. A royal cemetery is to be established at Saqqara to serve as the eternal resting place for nobles such as Hezre and Kabo Sakar, Pharaoh's trusted courtiers. But this site shall also contain a monument the like of which the world has never seen before. I, the Pharaoh's royal vizier Imhotep, have conceived a new form of sacred tomb for Pharaoh. Unlike the low mud brick mastabas of prior pharaohs, this tomb shall rise toward the heavens as if it were comprised of several mastabas placed one on top of the other. And what's more, this stepped pyramid shall be constructed entirely of stone, that it may endure the passage of the eons. Deep within, a sarcophagus of solid granite shall hold Pharaoh's body for his eternal rest. Priests at the necropolis of Abjadu have perfected the art of using linen to embalm the dead, thus opening the door to everlasting life to all Egyptians. Our trading post at the Salima Oasis still thrives, and from there you may import ebony from Africa. Pharaoh has given you a generous supply of cash to get started on this project. Do not let him down.
All right. Hi, this is Anakin, and welcome to Series 1, Episode 10 of our playthrough of Pharaoh, A New Era. We are going to do Saqqara, and many of you, I'm sure, who have fond memories of this game. If you don't remember any other mission, you probably remember this one. This is the first time we have to build a pyramid. Meadow farming and irrigation. Some land is fertile enough for farming, even though it's not situated on the floodplain. You can identify such meadow areas by their multicolor plant growth. Some farms placed on meadows can produce more than one harvest per year, though the yield is usually somewhat less than that of a floodplain farm. Employ irrigation to increase the fertility of any farmland. Irrigation ditches on the floodplain can be connected directly to the Nile, but you'll need a water lift to elevate the water onto dry land. Water lifts can be built on the edge of the floodplain or on the coast, where you can raise water directly from the river up to dry land. Connect an irrigation ditch to the back of the water lift to bring irrigation water to inland farms. So one important thing to note about that is that we can now irrigate our farms even out on the floodplain and make them more productive. All right, so this is a redo for me because I had a bunch of technical difficulties. The D word popped in there a couple of times. I won't talk about it, but I wasn't very happy. But got it all to work now, and I really like the mission. So we're just looking around to see what we've got. And we've got basic idea here is we have to build this plain stone pyramid. And that's all it takes is plain stone. However, you have to be careful. It does take some burial provisions to go along with it. You have to be careful, make sure you don't miss those. And I'm just right here, I'm just trying to figure out what in the world does that do, and I don't know. I still don't know what that does. Anybody, if you do know, please let me know. Now, first thing we need to do, of course, is have an economic engine. So what I'm doing here is figuring out if we were to go out and get those gold mines, where would we want to have housing to go out and, where would we need to put housing in order to allow those gold mines to go get staffing. And so what I've done here is just say, okay, fine. We're just going to use one of our little quote straight unquote, because this one obviously curves, blocks. And because there's water that will give us a well over there. And we're just going to put the village palace is where the gold comes in, and it has to be there, and it has to be on some grass. And so we're just going to scoot it out there as close to the gold as we can get it. We're going to go ahead and set up where our entertainment will be. and then we're going to go out and grab gold mines. So this next bit is just going to be setting up our first block, and that first block's primary purpose, particularly right this moment, is to provide workers for the gold mines, so we can have a steady flow of income throughout the game. And right here, I'm just setting up a way for that the gold mine road to attach to our housing block road, so that the gold can flow down there. And I'm just going to let you watch this. This is the same gameplay we've done over and over. We've got quite a bit of money. Now, I will say this before I go. Another way to do this would be to build 3 or 4 blocks concurrently. So start it, put your people in, bare bones minimum stuff in each one, fire and architecture and what have you, and build them all up to the point where they're ready to eat, and then focus on getting your food somewhere. Get the food out to all of them, build them all up, get them all ready to where they're ready for pottery, et cetera, you would actually grow faster. That takes a bit more micromanagement than I'm willing to give. I've done it. I've done it on this mission, in fact, and it works beautifully, but this works beautifully too. I'm happy with how this came out. So just watch as we just go out. Our goal is to get a fully functioning block and to hook up all the gold mines out through there. One quick note about those gods. Every other time I had thought see where I've got Temple of Ra and then Temple of Ptah. So I always thought that far right one was your patron god, but it isn't, because in this case Ptah is our patron god and Ra and Bast are our secondary gods. So you have to be careful with that. Make sure you have the right god when you start this, or any of the missions for that matter. Now right here I deleted something I'd already put down, because I realized that when we put that entertainment in there, that bandstand, it's going to need houses right next to it, because the way we put that roadblock there, the bandstand walker, or the recruiter for the bandstand, is never going to actually leave the bandstand area. So if there's not a house right next to him, he's not going to be able to pick up. And they need 12 workers in the bandstand, just like you need the people to work out in the juggler school and the musician school. So it's kind of like the bandstand workers are the people who organize events, and then they hire out the people that are at the schools, the musicians and jugglers and dancers, to come to the events that they organize. Okay, so right there I just put in gardens. Those gardens are actually placeholders for a mortuary, if we want to use one, and a school, which we'll definitely use. to make sure that we don't fill up the block with houses and not have space for those industries, businesses, services, whatever you call them. Now, we could have, in hindsight, I'm thinking, we could have just gone ahead and put houses there and brought the people in and then deleted and put the new thing right behind it when it was ready, when we were ready to use it, like the school. And that wouldn't have been a bad, that's probably been a bad, from now on, I think that's what I'll do. Because if we're early like this, the way I tend to play, you're trying to get the people, and I'm always overbuilding, more than I've got people to get, because I'm trying to get that out of the way, feel like that's solid, and go turn my attention somewhere else. So I'm always in this pattern of I need a few more people, and what am I going to do to get more people? And one way, the easiest possible way to get more people is to lay down some more housing. And I'm just trying to get the beauty set. I'm trying to get that water to pop, and it did. It upgraded. And we've got a place there next to the temple for the eventual bazaar when we get ready to do food. And you see we don't have room for many people. There's a few people coming in, but there's not much room here. And we're still trying to get all those mines out through there. Now, unfortunately, I also say that the way you can't rotate the map. I'm not sure why they lost that functionality, but so you have to be kind of careful how you use the edges. Like here, all those gold mines are right up against the edge of the map, so you have to be careful with how you do that. I'm trying to decide where to go next. We've got pretty much all the housing we can do up there, and we can go one of two ways now. We can either build the food out, or we can go build another block. If we get food, that's a pretty easy thing. On a map like this where you have hunting, it's pretty easy to get food going. So I decided to go that route, to put in a granary and some hunting lodges and get some food going into our mining community. Okay, so now we're ready to do food. We're going to put in bazaar, granary, and some hunting lodges, and start getting food into our first city block here. And that way the population cap will increase quite a bit for minimal costs and time, really. I definitely have my favorite mistakes. Missing out on fire is one, and that's probably the biggest one. I'm not used to that functionality where you can, by default, have the granary switch to accept none. But I think it's actually good for control purposes, but you got to have the discipline to go back and turn on whatever food you do want to go in there. I realized the one building missing is the tax collector, so corrected that. Took out some housing, put in a tax collector, and now we're going to bump up the tax and actually start collecting tax. You can see it's almost nothing now with this poor housing, but it'll start improving fairly quickly now. At least it'll bump up to ordinary cottages once we get some food into our system. You can also see, because you've got those rough cottages, well, see there, those first few have already bumped up to ordinary. And because you got that rough ones, that means it's time to do entertainment. So we got that bandstand in there so our entertainers can go walk through there and get us going. And here we have a request from Caesar, from Pharaoh for game meat. So we're going to stockpile game meat. So we're just going to say, don't buy it, don't trade it, just leave it alone. Just gather it, but leave it alone. And we're getting a message to accept some pomegranate from a neighbor, and we want to take that because would actually, if we didn't take it, we would insult them. So we want to take it for sure. And the gods are starting to bless us because we've used a lot of shrines. I'm a very shrine heavy builder because it's just such an easy way to get your God blessings consistent and often without having to worry about doing the festivals. Sometimes some missions I do a lot of festivals, and others I'd never do it or never build the festival square. Now, when you have Bast like this, it's really a good idea to just keep doing festivals to Bast, and then she'll get real happy and hold a festival for all the other gods. So you get multiplier effect. But at any rate, if you build enough shrines, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we're starting to build Site B, so to speak. We're going to build our a dock and storage yard area, and we're going to build a housing block along one side of it so that we can staff it, and then use that housing block to staff a lot of quarries for the plain stone. And you may notice, look how I'm building right through all that fertile land. They just got through telling us about the meadow fields, meadow farms, and I think you can kind of read between the lines as to how many meadow farms I intend to build in this mission. And I measured that out so it was 6 wide, because that way you could put two 3x3 storage yards back to back and fill up that space nicely with storage yards. And I measured it out there so I could see where we want the road for our next block, and it's going to be similar to the other block. I'm going to run it out 30 spaces, which seems to work very well and hard, and make sure that there's some make sure there's housing right next to the water supply. And I got to tell you, that measurement, see how it counts 30 for you? That is great. It even counts over existing road. The original game, the one thing used to drive me crazy, I would start counting, and I would count, because you have to be, some of these things you have to be really precise. That's one of the things I think it could turn off some people, but you have to be very precise in how you set up some of your housing blocks. And if you get them off a little bit, they start to malfunction. And in the original game, I would start going out, counting, and I'd have a mouse slip and go, oh crap, and get to start over. But this thing is so cool with the counting. It's just really useful. So I'm going to add one road to the count and put a roadblock out there to kind of define the block, and I'll shut up again while I build this block. So this block, you can kind of see that the entertainers are up there kind of above us, and the food is up there above us. So we're going to hook up to that working block over there and make sure that that entertainer walks on his loop, and just for getting employment. And we'll have, in this one, we'll have you coming in from left to right as we're looking at it, and your entertainers will go all the way down, and the bandstand's down there on the bottom right. So anyway, that's enough. You get the idea. You notice there I put down 2 firehouses, and I meant to put architect and firehouse. I find that clicking on these things, it's almost like it's slow. It's like if you click too fast, you don't really get whatever it is you're pointing at. So here I'm doing the whole thing with the 8 gardens again to carve out space for mortuary and scribe school. And again, I think from now on I'll just put housing in and then delete the house. No big deal. You put housing in and delete it if you want to, replace it with something else. Little Pharaoh's eminent domain at work. decided not to push the limits too hard out there, where there's going to be some nasty quarries over there close by. I didn't want to get too close to them. So now just kind of defining where would you walk by the houses, and then we're going to put in a whole bunch of quarries, that whole side of the mountain, if you will. And have a road that connects up each one of them. So that'd be one side of a loop, and the other side of the loop would be going over there toward the housing block to find your new hires. And I want to make this, ideally it'll be a loop. Now this one would absolutely work if you just left it as a road that runs up and back, as long as that road happened to hit somewhere near pass by the housing, so that you could pick up recruits. But if you can loop it, looping's the most solid. If you can get a loop that isn't too long, so that your walkers can make it around it, or then that's the most solid way to go. So I'm looking at this and thinking, this just isn't, no, it's too tight there. So I'm just going to admit it and move back a little bit. And the good news is that helped me find the mistake with the two firehouses. I think I'd seen it at that point, but I would not swear to it. I would not. And there, I wasn't sure I was going to connect there, but do not want any loops like that. You could get a walker that just walks around in circles or gets totally confused and just does not do anything logical. And that kind of walker is the kind that causes fires and buildings to collapse and industries to fail, and all kind. Rarely does a good thing happen from a confused walker. So there, we've converted it into a bit of a loop, and now we can put the architect and we can also put our bazaar back and then rebuild the architect and fire. This time, actually using architect and fire instead of fire and fire. And we need to get an architect and storage yard in that loop up there, so that these quarries will have a place to make their delivery, and so they can keep from collapsing, and then we'll be good to go. Should add, very important, once you put the storage yard in there, you now have both the risk of fire and collapse, because the storage yard can catch fire. The mines don't catch fire, they just collapse. I decided here I wasn't going to fool with it. We were not going to have an issue with attractiveness here. Going to lay down gardens out there, out toward the quarries, and that'll allow us to put in some plazas, and that allows that bazaar to upgrade and be a more efficient bazaar, better looking, and the whole bit. we can see there's plenty of game. We're not over hunting, so we're going to add more hunting lodges because we've just added a whole new block and we need the food. Now, see that thing there? Blessed is a storage yard. Oh my, that's so strong. You're going to see that in a little bit. I just wasn't quite ready to do it yet, but you're going to see a couple of things that we do to take advantage of Ptah's blessings. Ptah can just jumpstart your whole economy if you make him really happy right off the bat. Just get you flying. So we're going to set up a storage yard over here to get the plain stone, so that we can kind of keep consolidating it closer and closer to where we're going to build. So the idea is this thing you see down here with these hunting lodges, we're also going to use it to house some of our stonemasons and carpenters and workers. And you can see we're now siting the monument, making sure we have a road connection to the entry point for it. And you can't rotate that monument, by the way. It's always going to have that entry point down there. And here I'm just going to make sure that storage yard walks on its path where it's supposed to go to get workers, not go out there and wander around toward the monument, toward the pyramid. Same thing here. We don't want that storage yard running off. We want it to work on its little thing to make sure it can get employees. So the first thing that has to happen with the pyramid is that the work camp folks, the laborers, have to go out there and level things out. They have to dig up the foundation and use some water to level it out and all that stuff. You don't even need any special things like Stonemasons Guild or anything like that to get that done. It's just the laborers out there digging away. You can see they like us. Our employment's good. Health is good. Everything's going nicely now. We're collecting a little bit of taxes, and since there's been a decrease in pay across the kingdom, so we're going to continue to pay more than the average. But if everybody else has dropped their price, dropped their pay scale, we can too. Okay, so here I'm setting up a work area. So let me explain what my idea here. We're going to have an area for the dock, and there's going to be a lot of activity at the dock, mostly importing, some exporting, but a lot of importing. And this next nearby, we're going to have a work area where we're going to have the papyrus makers and potters and brewers and all that stuff. So we'll be importing the raw materials they need because we just don't have any of that stuff here. We have to go out and buy all of it. But we'll be importing the raw materials they need, and then using the industry workers we do have to create the goods for us and then supply our own city with those goods. So it's much cheaper, of course, to import the raw material than it is the finished goods. So we're just going to go out and actually open all the trade routes because we can use them all one way or another, and we've got the money. This is what having all a nice economic engine does for you. You don't worry about it, you just do it. So there we go. Now we've got all the trade routes open that are available to us. There's like one or two, I think 2 land trade routes, and the rest are water. So this guy, and one nice thing is that one of the trade routes that is what am I trying to say? One of the trade routes that is a land route is for the wood, and we want that over there because we're going to have a carpenter's guild or two over there that's going to do something for us. We'll talk about that in a little bit for those of you who aren't familiar with what they do. But so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put storage yards near the dock, and we're going to connect up the dock area with the new working area we did. And I made it 5 there. There's 5 spaces there, so we could put more storage on the outside if we wanted to, like this, and still have space for workers on the other side of it. So a 3 and a 2 worker station. So here we're going to bring in clay, and I'm trying to decide how I wanted to do this. Decided to just go ahead and have dedicated one for each thing we're going to bring in. So we're going to bring in barley in this one. So we got clay for the pots, barley for the beer, and then we're going to go out and say, okay, import the, I think I'm looking for clay. There we go. Import to maintain 1600, which is half a storage yard. We could do a whole storage yard if we wanted to, but we really don't need it. And 1600 barley for the beer. And then we're going to kind of watch it and see what comes first, and whatever comes first, we'll start making that. Now what happens, the reason you really want to have your receiving store yards close to your dock is because it's actually the carts from the dock that take it there. So, and you've only got the one dock, and if you have them hauling something all the way across the map for you, it's not going to work. You're not going to be very happy. So, in fact, your dock is going to really slow down and get sluggish. So you really want to be able to have the dock workers just grab the stuff, get rid of it, and move on to the next thing very quickly. So now we're going to have a yard over here, and it's going to accept like half the pottery, half full pottery and half full beer, because we are going to be creating those two things. And we want to be able to store the finished product. So we've got the clay. So we put down some 5 brewers and 5 potters actually. And you can see we're continuing to import the. So now, as long as we keep our dock functioning well, we've got it's just as if we were out growing our own barley and having our own clay pits, because we'll have steady supplies of the raw materials. So look at that. I've gotten that message like 3 times now, and I really, lesson learned. Next time I have Ptah, I'm going to do this. And we're going to put down 5 jewelers, if I can keep from slipping. And so we're going to put down 5 jewelers, but we're not going to import any gems. They're expensive. We don't have a ton of money, but that's okay. We're just going to let them sit there and watch what happens. Should have done this long ago. As soon as I could get them in there. Especially since we can export jewelry. If you couldn't export jewelry, not such a big deal. I think here I got confused on my setup with the wood and I know what it is. I set that middle of those 3, that middle storage yard, as half wood and half sandstone, but now I'm looking at, I forgot that, and I'm looking at it and saying, oh, the sandstone there, I must not have a wood one. And I want to make sure I do before I set it to import. So we're going to import 800 wood at a time on our land trade road. So raw blessing, now there we go, look at that. There's 5 jewelers completely full of gems ready to make jewelry for us, and we didn't pay for it, didn't make it, Ptah just gave it to us. So we took advantage of Ptah's blessing. Could have been doing that all along. We could have had a jewelry business running and exporting jewelry without ever importing this stuff, just from all the blessings from him. So we're going to set it up, set up a a storage yard where we can store the jewelry, and then we're going to export the jewelry that we're making. There it comes. But it gets better than this. Just keep watching. It gets better. So here we've got a blessing where he fills a storage yard. Look at that. Ptah just filled up that storage yard with jewelry. So now we've got lots and lots of thousands of Devons worth of jewelry that we can export just by making Ptah happy. In fact, here it goes. Here goes the exports of it as we speak. There goes a bunch onto that ship right there. And that ship bought 1,600 jewelry. Thank you for coming. Thank you, and mostly thank you, Ptah. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, can't we do this for linen too? Why not? Why don't you give us some flax and we'll make linen? And really, this is what I was targeting to do, was to get all these set up and ready to go. Now, from time to time, here's another blessing from Ptah. I don't know what, went through it too fast to know what it was. Anyway, from time to time, gold mines collapse, and from time to time, clay pits collapse. It just happens. You just got to replace them and say, oh well, and move on. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no way to prevent it. It just happens. I'm trying to figure out why isn't my pottery working? Because and then I finally punched in and realized that I don't have a connection between the industry area and the kind of, if you will, think of the sales distribution, the distribution area over there where the food and the pottery and the beer go. Now we do, and now we'll start getting the beer and pottery, first the pottery, then the beer, into our communities, and you'll watch them. They'll see, there we go, boom, boom, boom. They evolve quickly up to the next class. Now, a quick comment. You notice how well it's evolved in one end and not at all at the other. That is a function of the capacity of the bazaar for how much it can carry back and how fast the rest of the block is consuming. So you could think about putting another bazaar at the other end, up there near the water, and let it work backwards the other way. And the other thing you could do is do that, right? And then after a while, after you get everything kind of settles down and you've got a steady state going, you've got everybody happy, then you could just go ahead and delete that one and put a house in there. It's just it's a lot. We're asking a lot of that one bazaar to be able to satisfy the needs of all those houses, because when they first evolve to the next level, they got nothing of whatever it is that that next level is, and so each house is going to consume a maximum amount of each one of those things. So it makes it harder and harder for the bazaar lady to get out there very far. It's not like she's going to sell one pot to each house out through there. She's going to sell however many each house wants as she goes along, however many they can take, and that's why she doesn't get very far. So I think a speed. If you wanted to speed this up a little bit, put 2 bazaars in to start with, and then think about taking one out later. Do that up there. Your very first one too, it would have been the same thing. Have 2 bazaar ladies working, and you could keep them, or like I said, you could toss out the one that's at the far end when you're done with it. Right there is a mistake, a bad mistake. I let all the road complex get me confused. We want to set up a place to put our linen and put our papyrus, and that was a goof. But there you go. She's just now works. See, look at that though. She's just now caught up. So you didn't really need that second bazaar. It just would have maybe sped things up a little bit because and the other side the thing I don't like about that is you build a bazaar, you say, okay, well, I'm going to get rid of it later, and then you just throw away all the goods that they had in it. It just doesn't make sense. And now she's completely caught up. That bazaar is completely caught up and won't have any trouble keeping it maintained now because she's not selling total full amounts to every house she comes to. I keep saying she because the distributor, the lady that goes out from the bazaar, is just that. It's a lady. All right, so now it's time to put in a scribal school. And we can do the same thing down here. We can take out the garden where we kind of saved our space. And we can put in a school here. Keep prettying things up, and soon we'll have common residences all over the place, which is great. And here I realized, geez, oh Pete, what am I doing? We've already got all that balancing work and the foundation kind of laid, if you will. We need some stonemason guilds in place, so the stonemasons will go out there and actually place the stones and drive this whole thing. So they go out there and get lined up, and then our work camp guys drag the stone out there to them, and they build it up, and we're starting to build a pyramid. And this is a very important thing. It's easy to miss it. There's that button you can push to see what provisions you have to give, and I'm going to try to fill them as I go. Now, I will warn you that now it used to be, I don't know if that's true anymore, but it used to be you could have theft, so you could put stuff in there and then turn around and it would be gone. You'd have to put it in again. But I wanted to just go ahead and get rid of everything I could. And look at this. We're already up to almost completely common residences in 2 blocks here. So it's going extremely well. We've got one down there near the water supply. Probably it's having a problem with desirability because that dock is nasty. And so now we're going to start importing the gems. We're going to have to pay for them, instead of having Todd give them to us. And maybe he'll occasionally give them to us as well, but we'll start importing them. We've got 2 nice blocks going now, and we're making progress on our monument, our pyramid. So we've got a population requirement, and we've got these kind of built up. Want to do another block, and just looking around, what makes the most sense? Because see, this block down here is just really useful because it's doing the dock, the industry, and mining on one side of that mountain. So what we're going to do here is put a block down here, right down in that area, that's going to mine the other half of the mountain. So we'll just set up another block here, have it go up and be ready to provide staff for a whole bunch of quarries on this other side of that mountain. And I think I will take a break now and let you watch this. And again, if I see something interesting or just get tired of sitting here watching, I'll speak up. So here I'm just trying to make the tightest little, quote, circle, unquote, I can make without having, the lines crossed to create intersections or having, just that, having one side cross touch the other side where they make an intersection. We don't want that. We do want a loop, but I want it to be as tight as we could make it because it's a long walk. We want to make sure our walkers can get around there and make sure our fire and architecture folks can get around as well. So there we go. Now we've got a whole new mining set. They have a way to get their staff, and we can just build up that city. And we want to make sure that there's a connection so that our entertainment can get in and our bazaar lady can get out of there to do their thing. So there you can see the difference in taxation when you have nice housing. We're actually making 1,000 debit a year, roughly, on taxes rather than losing practically everything. Our taxation was, 30-some debit a year at one point, and now it's like 4,500 or so. We haven't changed the tax rate at all. It's still the same tax rate. It's just that now we have better housing, and they just pay a lot more. So we've got this complex to Ptah. We might as well use it. Now it's giant. Now the way I'm going to turn it, it's going to take up a ton of space. But we're going to set it up there and let it be our That's going to be our temple. It's that big old thing, because it will spawn a walker, a priest, and the priest will walk around just like a priest out of a regular temple, and so now we basically got our temple set, and we've also got the benefits of having that, which really makes Ptah happy. And that's another one of those, in hindsight, should have done this as early as possible, because you'll see in a minute we're going to look at the right here, the altar of Ammon actually improves our ability to build monuments, and then the other one improves education. The altar of Ammon is absolutely worth having. I don't really know how much it improves it, but any improvement is welcome in terms of how we build monuments. So good investment there. Plus, it looks cool. And here I decided we're not messing with this. We're gonna throw gardens down. We can afford it. We're gonna put some nice gardens down and get us some nice roads, and that way those quarries are not going to keep us from evolving our houses, and we'll be able to make a really nice housing area down here, and better housing, better taxes, happier people, the whole 9 yards. So I think here the problem was I'm trying to import gems for the jewelers, but I didn't have a yard set to accept them, so I'm not going to do very well like that. So there we've got, yeah, we're making progress on everything now. It's starting to look pretty good, and of course with the fire, and this is where I was saying this was a mistake. I've got that stinking warehouse on that connecting road, which isn't really a loop. It looks like it's a loop, but it isn't one of our loops. It's just a connecting road, and it's the one that has our papyrus and our linen in it. So we have to just build a new one, accept that we goofed up, and wait for the fire to go out and clean up the mess. But we don't need to. We've already rebuilt it, if you will. We moved it over there where it should have been in the first place. And I keep looking down here at the lower left and wondering, why aren't they doing any better? Can't they get any food? And I'm thinking, are they out of range? And this was an incomplete thought. Decided to just go ahead and set up another one because we seem to be filling that one up anyway. So set up another set up another granary and then set it on get and have it go take some. But I think I had an incomplete thought here too. Again, I think I've got it on that loop. I think the walker is coming out and just walking around. He's walking around in an area where there's no housing, and that thing is not getting staffed. And the simple fact is that's not the actual problem. That's not even close to being the problem. And I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm seeing we got 3,100 and we got this totally undeveloped block down here. So we're good. Our goal is 3,500. We can get there with the housing that we have if we can just get that housing to start to evolve. And when I get down here, I finally realized the head slapper, there's no bazaar in this one. It's kind of hard to see, I will admit, but there's no bazaar. How bizarre is that? So we're going to delete that one roadblock, make sure we get our pretty road, and then we're going to put a bazaar where there should have been one right off the bat. Make sure it's beautiful around it so it'll upgrade. There we go. And now we should see this one take off. And that granary up there that we added is still got nothing. It still has nothing in it. I don't think it ever will have anything because it doesn't have any workers. But you can see, look at that. And I when I saw this, I scratched my head. And why is it that she's selling down there before the ones right in front of her? I don't understand. I don't know how that happened, but here we go. Now it's moving quickly. You can see how quickly they evolve when you have all the stuff, and we've got lots of linen, and we could be doing mortuaries, which really in this particular mission doesn't buy us anything. We don't have a particularly stringent goal about any of that kind of stuff, and we didn't set any personal goals for like health or anything. But we could put a mortuary in and supply it with linen, similar to the way the the school is supplied with papyrus, and it functions just and adds to the health of the of your city. So we got a nice looking build here, 3 good blocks. Notice that one spot down there, that one house just does not want to get to common residence, and that's because of the ugly dock, and we kind of crowded it a little bit, got it in there a little too tight, and didn't leave enough room for any kind of beautification to counteract that dock. So now here I want to have, and I kind of messed this up, but what I want to do now is start getting us some more sandstone, or plain stone. So we've got this other little mountain range down here at the bottom of the screen, and we need to have a place where we can put some people, and then we can set up a walking block to pick up those people and work down there. And decided I wanted it more over to the right, and I don't even know why I decided that. It was a stupid decision. Because now I'm going to have to get rid of that dentist, and he's an odd-shaped guy, and where we're going to put that little single guy. And we've got that blasted courthouse there that kind of sticks out farther, and you wouldn't want to be recruiting right there anyway. So after basically building back what I tore down over on the other side, after losing a house on top of it, so this is not my finest hour right here. I don't think this is even going to stand. I think I'm going to hit slap my forehead and hit delete again. So you see here we can get a lot of sandstone, or God, why do I keep saying that? A lot of plain stone off of this area down here. And that seems to be the only thing keeping us from getting done. And here I was thinking, okay, I got a garden. I run it next to the garden. It's cool. But if you look closely, you'll notice that it's not close enough to that house, or that what's going to be a house, to get the job done. So I'm building a connection here so that, work camp guys can drag it from down here if they want to. I'm trying not to use too much of the get functionality because that's where I've had some D-word problems. And this guy here, for whatever reason, he doesn't want to get employees either. So a couple of goofs going on here. We're waiting on people to get into that house. There we go. So I'm thinking, okay, now there are walkers going right by it. Now we should be really looking great and getting a lot of people here. We've got a small amount of unemployment, but that should be perfect to fill this up, and nothing's happening. Absolutely nothing. Well, the house is evolving. That's nice. But nothing's happening on getting workers down there. And then I look a little bit more closely and realize, oops, I'm off one. This game does not forgive you. You've got to get it right. Going down there. There you go. There you go, guys. There we go. Now we're starting to get employees. And pay is down to 23. Jeez. So we'll cut it down to 26. Now we're paying 3 above. So this is the place everybody wants to come and work. And they're running off and they're not using this one. I don't understand it. It's set to accept. Yeah, these carriers down here are actually running off and putting it in other storage yards and skipping that one. It has no workers. See that? There's all the little black people symbols up there at the top. And we can give them some stone. So I don't... Yeah, I don't know why that one didn't work. I don't. But I moved it over here, and it will start working almost instantly. See, there you go. It's already working. So now these quarries can unload very nearby and keep and get back to work, get back to their quarry. We're getting there. We're 70% complete. We've got enough papyrus. We've got enough linen. We're missing granite and wood. So we're going to set up a storage yard that will take in the granite, and we'll set it to import, I think 15. I think I did exactly 15 for this. Yeah, and we need 1,000 wood, but we're only, what are we importing? 800. That's not enough. So we'll double that. We'll make it half a yard and make sure we can get that 1,000 and get that funeral provision going. Another mine collapse. They just keep happening. They're irritating, but they are what they are. So we saw that we had the granite, and once we sent it to the burial chamber, we stopped importing it. We don't need more granite. It has no purpose other than as being that sarcophagus for Pharaoh's body. And you can see I'm just sort of watching now. It's getting a little boring because we're just, there we go. There's the last thing we had to do is get that wood out the door. And now all we have to do is finish that monument, which won't take long because we've got a ton of plain stone. And it's probably good that we got that wood when we did, because that sandstorm would prevent us from getting any land trade for a while and could have delayed us, potentially. As it is, it all worked out, and we should be wrapping up pretty soon. And there we go, we're all done. So we finished it in 149 months on hard. And we did all right, 98 kingdom, 59 prosperity, and not bad at all. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it'll help you become a better player. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and join us for our next Pharaoh, A New Era video. Thank you.